Hey, Raina.
Hey, Meg.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
It's been a wild ride since we last recorded.
It has. We have so many things.
So many things.
The
last, 8 days? Is it? Yeah, 8 days have been...
Chaos?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, but in a good way, chaos.
In a good way, but...
I mean, we celebrated your birthday.
Boy, did we ever.
And we celebrated hard.
Multiple days.
We had so much fun, though.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
We started out on a Saturday with the girls.
Yep.
And Mr. Boo Boo was our driver.
He was our DD.
Naturally.
We told him, we're like, pick us up at 7:30. We'll be done by then. Like, and you'll just come for a drink and then you'll take us home.
And then he went and grabbed my daughter to watch your kids. And then we were gone till what? 11.
Turned into he was with us for most of the night because it extended out longer.
But we found some great places in Enumclaw, Washington.
Yes, if you haven't been out bar hopping in Enumclaw, Washington, never
what
something
are
I
you doing
thought
in your
I
life?
would say in my life is that I go bar hopping there, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, the Griffin Brewery.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, they had their own seltzers that you get to flavor yourself, like or choose the flavor. It was so cool.
I liked it.
And then on your birthday, we spent the day.
Yeah, you and Amanda came over at like 11.
Yep. And we brought some McDonald's and
some Diet Cokes.
Yep. And then eventually had a mimosa or two. But we ended up, all the kids came over to my house after school and we all hung out. It was a good time.
By the time the bus was about to come, we're like, we're not done.
Yeah, we're not done hanging out.
We're not done. And I think we came over to your house because you said you had some Ben & Jerry's ice cream for me.
It's still in the freezer.
It's still in the freezer because we got here.
We forgot. Oh, yeah. I promise I'll get it to you eventually.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Maybe after this you can steal it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just leave it here and another excuse to hang out.
I think that's perfect.
There we go. And then Friday, last weekend.
We went to Fall Out Boy.
Oh, my gosh.
So good.
That was such a good show.
Meg and I do not agree on a lot of musical things.
Most.
However, Fall Out Boy is one that we both like. We had so much fun.
I like it because I initially bought tickets and I didn't ask you.
No, you were going with your child.
I was going to go with my child because every time I ask you about a concert, you get mad at me and say, "Yeah, this sucks."
I don't get mad at you. I just say, "No, I don't want to go. I don't spend my money on concert tickets unless I love them."
I spend a lot of money on concert tickets.
I'll be honest, I would have not probably bought tickets to Fall Out Boy just because I loved them when I was younger and I know their new stuff, but it's not anything that I am listening to all the time, but it was a really good show. It was
worth it. We went with our neighbors.
Yes.
Amanda, shaves her grandma's cat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The three of us have really had a solid week of hangout. It's been a good time.
It's been a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then today,
what do we do today?
Something very exciting happened.
What?
But we'll go that after our intro.
Oh, cider. It's cider related. I was like, what? All right. You want my joke?
Yeah.
Okay. What do aliens like to eat?
I have no idea. Round rump roast? I don't know.
Unidentified frying objects.
Oh, but
it's a dad joke, guys. I was appropriate today. You're welcome.
You were very appropriate today.
It was too much effort to find a hard one. A hard what?
What? Okay. Hello and welcome to Lunatic Soup, the podcast where we go into all things wild, weird, and unknown. We're your host, Meg.
And I'm Raina, ready to brew up some lunatic soup.
Let's go. Okay, so the exciting thing today, about hour and a half ago, I'm laying on my couch and I'm like, oh, Shillings keeps saying they're going to have a new cider. Let's go look. And I just about jaw to floor moment.
She texts me and she was like, oh my God. And she sends me the link to it. And I respond casually and I'm like, yeah, they have it at Walmart.
And well, how do you know this, Raina?
Because when I went to get ciders, when we recorded the Robert the Doll episode.
That was a long time ago.
It was. And I was in their alcohol section. I saw it was either this one or the blackberry pear one. And I almost got this one for the look of the can, but I wanted to try the blackberry pear.
Which is fabulous.
It was fabulous.
But you guys, this can has a Yeti eating an apple with sunglasses. There are penguins and narwhals.
It's a pretty cool can.
And it's called Diabolical.
Yep.
I am so excited because they have their London Dry.
Yes.
And so we'll see how this compares.
I'm guessing this isn't as dry as that. We'll find out.
We'll see. I did bring, Alan. Is that Alan?
Yeah, Alan.
Alan the alien. And
remember the name, Meg? I can't remember its name right now either. Our squirrel.
Larry?
No. Lester.
They both have some Fireball just in case we need to angry whore these
Yep.
Ciders. Oh my gosh, this can is amazing.
It is very cool.
It's amazing. All right, ready?
6.6% of
And
deliciousness.
it's shillings if I didn't say that. Oh, it's very, very frothy.
I mean, on the scale on the back, it says like it has a sweet to dry scale, and it's at the far end. So I'm guessing this is going to be a little bit like a beer-ish when they're this dry.
The can says, Yeti or not, this elusive dry cider bursts with fresh pressed apple flavor and aroma. A cider this dry and well-balanced is hard to find. And no small feat, get it, to make. Take the crisp, icy plunge. Yeti, set, go. I'm ready.
All right.
You ready, set, go?
Yeti, set, go. Cheers, bitch.
Oh my
Super
God.
dry. It's exactly what I thought it would be. In a really good way. It's very dry. It's not too sweet at all.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's a really good cider.
Are we going to angry whore it?
Of course we are.
Oh my gosh, this makes me like the shoulders just started. We know when my shoulders get started, that means
it's a happy Meg.
like the other night at Fall Out Boy, there was cheese curds.
Oh yeah, she was so happy.
Oh my gosh.
We went to a beer hall.
It was so fun.
In downtown Seattle. It's like the Queen Anne Beer Hall. Is that what it was?
It was in Queen Anne. I'm
pretty sure it was the Queen Anne Beer Hall. Anyways, had never been before, and we went and so much fun. And it was one of those. It was someone's birthday, and they brought out like sparklers, and they're playing "Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday."
And then there was
gonna party.
There was a boot incident, which I really wanted, but we were running late. And we had to go.
If you order Das Boot, they play a song, and everyone starts cheering, and you all stand on the table and chug out of a glass boot. And we were like,
we got to do this.
We're coming back. We had to go to a concert, but we're coming back.
All right, Alan, I'm taking this.
Okay,
ready?
It's time for some
fireball.
All right, let's try it with the fireball.
Right, fireball. Let's go.
It's the perfect fireball. When they're super dry like that, it tastes like the fireball just makes it better.
That's what an angry whore is supposed to taste like. Wait, what?
All I want to see is my husband's face when he hears that, like when he's listening to this in his car. He's like, really, Meg?
So, Alan, would you like to tell us what we're talking about today?
Alan says, you're talking about me, bitch.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Version.
A bigger version of you.
We are going to talk about the grays today. This is a wild, weird, and unknown. We're going to do it a little slight bit differently than we typically do. Yeah. So the grays we talked a little bit about them in our Antarctica episode, about how the grays actually come from beyond the ice wall, and they are kind of like a parasitic race that are trying to colonize and take over all these planets.
Yes.
And the giants said that that's what happened to them, and that's how the grays came to be.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Gray aliens are sometimes called Zeta reticulans, or Roswell grays, or just the grays. And they're defined by humanoid forms, long limbs, large black eyes, small noses, thin mouths, and of course, gray skin.
Yep.
Sometimes gray clothing.
Yeah, they are the ones that, like, when you see aliens depicted in so many things, they're typically the grays.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they'll make them green, but they're usually tall, skinny, big heads. It's like the standard alien that you think of, I think, right?
When you think of an alien with the big head and, no hair, that sort of thing. So in 1893, H.G. Wells presented this description of, like, the first kind of depiction of an alien. Mm-hmm. And it was really what it was post, like, apocalyptic. Like, the time machine.
Yeah.
So there's the race known as the Eloi, and they're successor species to humanity, and they have, the thin or no mouths, no nose, no hair, large heads. Mm-hmm. He kind of came up with that in the time machine.
Okay.
Have you seen that movie? Like,
no.
Well, read the book, but they did a movie back in the 60s. It's one of my favorite movies.
No, I don't. No.
Yes. And then in 1917, occultist Aleister Crowley described meeting a pre-natural entity named Lamb that was similar to what we would consider grays.
Okay.
He had contacted the entity through a process that he calls amelantra working. Mm-hmm. And he thought it allowed humans to contact other beings from outer space and across dimensions. Other occults and ufologists kind of link Lamb and grays later. So he came up with Lamb, and then there's the grays, and they kind of figured that they're the same being. So these have been around for a while.
Yeah.
The most notable where we really get the grays are Betty and Barney Hill, which we're going to do a full episode about later. So I'm not going to go through it completely, but they claimed that in 1961, these humanoid alien beings with grayish skin abducted them and took them into a flying saucer. And how we get the Zeta reticulans is because when Betty Hill was under hypnosis, she drew a map as to where the Greys lived, and that's the region of the universe
Where they live. Okay. And if you guys recall from last week's episode, Antarctica, the Greys are supposedly, there could be part of the world that one of the theories for Antarctica as well.
Right.
That
Yeah. They are, there's some theories that they are underground.
Yeah.
There's some theories that they are beyond the ice wall. There's some theories that, I mean, there's all sorts of theories as to what the Greys are, but it all kind of comes back to the same look. The theories kind of just go to their origins. We don't know their origins is basically what it is.
Yeah. I know that just from so for these episodes, we look up stories on Reddit.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stories that I'm looking up or when I'm reading other people's theories, it's interesting because a lot of them happen where they see them at night and in their room. And sometimes sleep paralysis is associated with it. Which is interesting. We did one of our very first episodes, I don't know, 4th or 5th, maybe, was a sleep paralysis episode.
Yeah.
And we'll have to redo that one day with better audio and but it's interesting because sleep paralysis is something that some people don't know if it's a psychosis or if it's really something that happens to you, where your body, or your soul leaves your body and astral travels, essentially.
Yeah.
And so then it's sometimes you wake up and your soul isn't fully back, or you wake up and there's some being holding you down. And so Greys are associated with that. It's which I didn't realize because I always hear about the old hag or the Hat Man for those.
Right. And that's typically, and the Hat Man is usually somebody with a tall hat.
Yeah. He's a all black entity.
And then we've heard of the Inside Out Man. Our friend Amanda was telling us that her friend, who we're going to try to actually get on the podcast, was in a house that had exorcisms and all this stuff, and they used to see the Inside Out Man, who had a hat, but his insides were on the outside.
I don't like that. No, thank you.
No, thank you. Mm-mm. And then if you go to Daryl Anka, have you ever heard of Daryl Anka?
No.
So Daryl Anka is a gentleman who has been supposedly channeling an extraterrestrial being named Bashar for decades. I'm not completely sold, but
I've heard of Bashar.
Bashar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you watch him, and it is very interesting. If he is, I don't think he's faking it.
Right.
But whatever he's doing, he goes into this trance, and you can see his face changes, the cadence of his voice changes, and he's channeling Bashar, or whatever. Bashar's theory is that we come from the Greys. The Greys were an extraterrestrial species that came to Earth and turned Homo erectus into what we are now.
Interesting.
By mating with them because they were dying out. So we are actually
partial
Greys. That's how we became who we are.
The human race.
The human race.
Interesting.
And there's a theory that they still live underground, but they are more of a mixed species because they're not fully Greys anymore because they've been wiped out. So, yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But okay.
But if you listen what we did with Antarctica when Admiral Byrd went underground into the ice, and there were these beings there who were watching Earth and disappointed with how we were doing things.
The flying saucers, the whole thing, it all runs in the same line, guys. So never say never.
Never say never. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do our normal Wild, Weird, and Unknown. We just wanted to give a little bit of a background to the Greys.
Yeah, just because if people didn't know, and it was I don't know, there's so many stories on them. We were like, this is kind of fun and creepy. We haven't done an alien for a while. I think our last alien, it may have been Alien Pancakes. Yeah, so we basically, and yeah, God.
Was it?
Well, we did Wild, Weird, and Unknown, Alien versus Alien and Bigfoot, but
yeah.
That was
I have a few alien ones planned for this year. So I'm actually we need more aliens in our life. Right, Alan?
Right? Yeah. Alan says yes. If anyone's got any alien stories, let us know. God.
Yeah. We read one. We had a write-in where we read one.
Yes. But I want some more.
Oh yeah.
Except for aliens terrify me.
Really? But why?
They're so unknown.
Is it the butt stuff?
Yeah, the anal probing really just fucks with me. I don't want it.
Have you seen that TikTok where this woman is like, I cannot get over what my mom wore to her colonoscopy today. And it's a picture of her mom getting ready to go to the colonoscopy appointment. And it says, get in, losers. We're doing butt stuff. And it's a UFO.
Look, I feel like when I am at that point when you have to like get them regularly, like
I'm getting you that shirt.
I want it. I'll do it. That's so good. Get in. But do you know what that saying is? Get in, losers. Do you know what that's from?
It's from, yeah.
It's from Mean Girls. She goes,
oh,
get in.
I know it's from a pop culture
She
reference.
goes, get in, loser. We're going shopping. So I like it because I like Mean Girls. So
there you
go. All right. Okay, so the first story, this is from 5 months ago, and it is from a person named Peppy Spray Pete.
Peppy Spray Pete.
And the title of it is, I think I woke up to a gray alien in my room last night. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I've been up since 5, and I just can't get this off my mind. So last night I'm sleeping, and I'm having a nightmare that in my apartment, I was looking into the kitchen area, and the drawers... You have to bear with us.
She got a southern drawl.
The drawers, cabinets, and door into the pantry were all opening and closing and moving by themselves, almost like poltergeist activity. I was scared in the dream, so I began praying. And then my wife, who was in the bed next to me, kicked my foot and woke me up because I was clearly distressed and mumbling a lot in my sleep. Here's where things get weird.
Oh, now they're getting weird.
I jump awake because my wife kicked my foot and feeling relieved to have not been in a nightmare anymore.
Hold up. He actually wakes up when his wife kicks him?
Oh, mine doesn't.
Mine doesn't.
At all.
No.
Jesus Christ. It's like fucking...
No. Like when the snoring starts, like I'm afraid I'm going to leave bruises. I have to kick so hard to get it to stop.
So many times. And he also like sleep apnea, stops breathing, and he's like... and I'm like, breathe, dumbass.
How's that go again?
Hang on. That's literally what he sounds like. Next time I'll record it for you.
Please
it's great.
Please do.
It's just straight up. It's like, and it goes on for so long, and I'm finally like, text, breathe, oxygen. Don't die on me. It's bad. Anyways, he's had it his whole life. Okay. Whew. Ready. So I jump awake and feeling relieved to have not been in my nightmare anymore. I turn my head towards my wife, who is laying behind me, and say, thank you, babe. I'm really sorry I was having a nightmare. But I don't hear any response. So I figure she's already fallen back asleep or just might be tired and she's still kind of out of it. Then I turn my head back facing towards the other direction. And I noticed something in the corner of my room, standing in front of the bedroom door.
Nope.
The room was dark, but the skin still appeared to be like a dark gray matte color. It was thin, had thin legs, long arms, and small, almost childlike torso, a narrow neck, and a really big bulbous head with a huge black almond-shaped eyes. It looked exactly like a traditional gray alien, but it was slightly transparent. Needless to say, I was shocked. And to be honest, my very first reaction was that I was seeing things because I had just woken up, which is, right. I feel like that's when you see something, if you've ever seen a ghosty or seen something if you're just waking up, always second guess. I'm like, are my eyes clear? Did I see something? I mean, even when you see it.
Although
anyways.
one time I did wake up and there was an old lady standing next to my bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I looked at her and I was just too tired to deal with it at that moment.
Not today, lady.
And I just checked. The kids were still asleep and I just rolled back over.
Well, that's the best way to handle it. Like, see you later. See you later. I had a little girl stand next to my bed one time and that was creepy.
Yeah, but she was poking you, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. And I thought it was Leia and twas not Leia.
Twas not Leia.
Twas not Leia. Anyways, she was fine. She was just hanging out. So he rubbed his eyes and it was still right there. Trying not to panic and trying to come up with rational explanation for it, I thought this must be a dream. The chemicals are working in my brain. Or this must be a dream. Chemicals still working in my brain. So I sit up slightly and look into the other corner of our bedroom by the closet, expecting to see something there too, but there was nothing. I then look at the ceiling, nothing. The floor, nothing. The other wall, nothing. I look back to the corner of the bedroom door, and it's still right there.
Oh, my God.
Standing there completely still, just staring at me with its huge jet black eyes, which were shaped like almonds and appeared to wrap just slightly around the side of its head, much larger than human eyes.
So traditional gray.
Exactly. And it's still slightly transparent, but I'm seeing it clearly. And only in that one spot, too. Nowhere else in the room. Now, because Texas power grid sucks, I always sleep with a flashlight next to my bed.
Fair.
After seeing this thing for about a minute and a half, it occurs to me to grab the flashlight. I lean off the bed and reach down and grab the flashlight and shine in the corner of the room at this being. And because it's transparent, it becomes much less visible when the light was shined on it, and I could see it very slightly, but it was much less.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. That's
Me either.
interesting, like camouflaging almost.
Yeah. Which I read the thread after this, so I'll tell you what people are saying because it's interesting, which I thought it was interesting too. Okay, again in disbelief, what I'm seeing, I begin slowly scanning the whole room with the flashlight from the bed, of course. I wasn't trying to get out of the bed. I was way too scared, to be honest. I mean, him saying he's way too scared, I'd be freaking the fuck out. I'd be yelling. I'd be slapping my husband. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't just be sitting there.
I wouldn't just be sitting, especially having children in the house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't automatically think alien. I'd be like, what the hell is this person doing in my bedroom?
But also, unless you're so scared you can't. But if you're scanning the room, to me, like, I don't know.
He had logical thought.
Yeah. So again, he sees nothing strange anywhere else in the room except for this thing in one corner by the bedroom door. Turns the flashlight off and instantly can see it super clearly again and staring at me. I rub my eyes again and squeeze my eyes together tightly, hoping that when I opened them it would be gone, but it wasn't.
Oh my
so finally
gosh.
began truly freaking out internally and began praying out loud. After about 20 seconds of praying, I literally watched this thing fade out of existence and dematerialize right in front of me. It was still standing there, dead still staring at me the whole time, and it just seemed to suddenly begin becoming increasingly transparent until it was just nothing.
So it literally dissolved.
Yep. So, and I've been awake ever since. Well, no shit. I probably wouldn't be able to fucking sleep either after that. He's saying couldn't fall back asleep after that.
Was this happening at like 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, it happened 5 months ago and he didn't say what time it happened.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it said I've been up since 5. So yeah, like 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
That's sleeping in if we're honest.
Jesus, we'll talk about that. So spent the rest of the night reading random stuff on Reddit to try and distract myself because the experience shook me up quite a bit, to be honest. But I was wondering if anyone else here has ever experienced something like this. I feel so genuinely weirded out that I just don't know what to make of it, to be honest. So along this thread, so many people, which I know you're going to read some of these stories that are people responding, correct? So many stories are people having very similar experiences. I will say that one of the biggest things that I saw when I was like looking up about the Greys and whatever is that people are saying that they almost come through like a hologram. That's like a theory.
And I never heard that before.
Yeah. Or it's like obviously interdimensional beings. They can like show up and come in and come out how they want
like
to.
Bigfoot.
Like Bigfoot. But just obviously aliens. So it was very interesting situation. There's like theories on like what the Greys actually are and by a bunch of people, and we can get into it at the very end of this.
So this person said, had a very intense sleep paralysis or lucid dream that still sticks with me. Oh, that wasn't it. Here it is. I had a similar experience, but for me it was sleep paralysis. It felt so real though, and I'll never forget it. And this is from I'm a Milk.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
All right. This was 10 or 11 years ago. I was 21, I think, at the time, and no substances in my system. Maybe that is relevant due to my age. LOL.
Well, you just aged yourself with that one.
No, he said that in here.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He said he's aged himself? Yeah.
I was sleeping alone in my room, home alone. And wait, why were you 10 or 11 years old sleeping alone in your room and home alone? Anybody. All right. Whatever. And I had a very lucid dream that I was in a woman's home. I assume it was her home. I didn't know her. And it looked like it was a cabin. For some reason, I feel like we were in the middle of the woods, but I never got to look outside. She said nothing to me until we heard footsteps outside of her window, sounding like something was walking around the wooden porch toward the front door. And she whispered to me, I'm going to say it in the movie, they're here. I'm going to assume that's how she said it.
So that's going to give me nightmares. They're here.
Almost like she was expecting them and knew what they were. In this dream, I didn't get to see what was at the door, but I knew what it was. Almost like an instinctual feeling that it wasn't human. The moment her door began to open, I, quote, woke up from this dream because I heard my own front door open. I was terrified because of the creepy dream and then hearing my door open. When this happened, I could not move. I was looking directly at the front of the open door, and it opens to a short hallway which is around the corner from my door. Frozen in fear, I just stared, but I heard someone coming, and when I saw who it was, I swear to God that what I saw, so it's hard when you're reading it from what someone's writing. I swear to God that what I saw, I'm just going to fix it, is what I could only describe as a gray alien about 5 feet tall, which very subtly peeked its head around the corner and made direct eye contact with me. I tried to scream and I couldn't move. Eventually, when I was able to fully snap out of it, this creature was gone, and everything in the room was exactly the same as just moments ago before the paralysis, even the light temperature. I don't know what that means. I don't really remember waking up, just feeling like I could finally move. The experience was extremely upsetting to me, and it felt so real. I can recall the event so vividly as if it happened today.
Damn.
So somebody said they're here in a dream. He woke up in sleep paralysis and saw this thing,
And then they were there.
poking around the window.
A lot of
or
people
the door.
are asking, like, so this, like, one story that I started with, it has, like, so many stories attached to it that we're just going to go off the one because so many people are sharing.
Do it.
Well, no, that, like, you and I are, that's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
So many similar experiences of, like, encountering these, like, specifically the Greys. And someone's just saying, like, why is there such a correlation with them in nightmares? Because there is. And so, like, is that, you know, you could theorize that it's, like, you know, from movies, because that's kind of what we're,
right.
like, because they look a lot like the ones from Signs. Like, that
Yeah.
movie Signs is kind of what they remind me of.
You've seen those memes, like, where did your trauma start? And it's that.
Oh, God. Which is so funny, because that fucking movie, you see, an alien twice in the movie?
Yeah.
Like, the one time on TV, and then the one when they get in the fight at the end.
I just remember it was my 15th birthday. One of my best friends, Kemish,
Yep.
who I'm still very best friends with today, she threw me a surprise party.
Aww.
And she was living with her aunt and uncle at the time, and we were all sleeping in the basement, and we were watching that movie, and her uncle snuck up behind all of us during one of the really intense moments and, like, did that, and everybody lost their mind. We should watch that movie.
I would absolutely. I'm down to watch that movie.
I haven't watched that movie in probably since I was 16.
Tex and I watched that movie, I think during COVID. We went through, like, a M. Night Shyamalan. That's, like, the director, right? Or whatever it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Yeah. But all of his movies, that's one of his. And we went through and watched a bunch of his movies. And that's one of the ones we did. And it's a fucking good movie. Mm-hmm. If you have not seen Signs, that means you're probably not our age. You're probably a baby if you haven't seen Signs.
I don't know. I'm younger than you.
By a whole year.
Yeah, that year counts.
Okay, whatever. Today I was on TikTok, and this guy was saying that his daughters were having a sleepover upstairs, and they were watching their first scary movie, and he was downstairs with the breaker box. And
I would have a ball with that.
Literally, you hear all the girls just, like, screaming bloody murder, and I'm like, oh God, I can't wait. I'm gonna mess with my kids. I'm not ready yet, though. They'll have nightmares, and then they'll come in my bed.
Before I had kids, I mean, it obviously wasn't TikTok because that wasn't a thing, but it was this video of this guy going in this kid's room and waking them up with a chainsaw.
I don't know. That's called some PTSD shit. That's fucking. That kid's going into therapy for show.
I wanted to do that. Just go into the hallway and start the chainsaw.
I mean, damn.
I do sometimes wake my oldest daughter up with music, and it's that. You know, the guy that does that, he's like a DJ, he's like a comedian, and he does a DJ thing, and one of his songs is like, what's what goes like, dunk, 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 like that type of music. You better erase that, by the way, but it's like...
I mean, no idea, but I believe you.
But the lyric is, you know, get yourself out of bed, bitch, go.
I've never heard it, but I love it. Get yourself out of bed, bitch, go. I shall be blasting that. I mean, I just like to terrorize my kids and drop them off with music blasting from my car, and they hate me for it. But what do you do?
Oh, they absolutely do not hate you for that.
My middle one does. She cries sometimes.
Does she?
Yeah.
Okay. This is how I wake my oldest daughter up sometimes. As loud as it'll go.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go. I love that.
She's not impressed.
Yeah, they get over it. Okay.
They'll love us when they're older.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So this is by Marble Ice Cream. I had a very similar experience that I'd like to share too. I'm an audio engineer, This will make sense in my story further down the road. This happened 5 or 6 years ago. I went to sleep and it was December. I woke up around 2:30 a.m. to a tremolo. Tremollo.
Let me see.
Tremolo.
I have no idea what that word means. If
saying
anybody
that,
knows what that word means,
let
us know.
Like sound in my right ear that went from fast to way too fast. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw what looks like in the movies a portal closing in front of my eyes with 3 gray beings standing there in front of me staring at me.
Hello. Hi.
Right? Fuck. Bring me to your leader.
Jump in. We're doing butt stuff.
Oh God. It reminds me when Mars Attacks. Did you ever watch When Mars Attacks?
Did I ever watch When Mars
It's
Attacks?
like,
I used to say that that's what Lucy sounded like.
okay, that's
when
what
she...
I was just about to say. We used to say that's what Leia sounded like.
when Lucy was learning to talk, and she sounds like the aliens from Mars
Yes,
Attacks.
that one we should watch.
I will watch.
I'm gonna take an edible and let's watch that.
Yes.
I'm down. What are we doing this weekend? That sounds like a great time.
That sounds like a great time.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time. That sounds good.
I don't think I've watched it since I've lived in Washington. So
Yeah, I don't think I've watched it. I've probably watched it in my 20s at some point because Tex and I love watching stupid movies, but it's been probably
That
at
was-
least 10 years.
and we're gonna watch it because I just remember the cast. Like there's so
many people. Which, how did they get all these people a part of this stupid fucking alien movie?
I mean, you ask me and I'll do it.
Well, duh. I mean, I guess you pay someone enough money. Solid movie. Anyways, okay, so the guy. Now I need to like re-listen to how they say it or how they do it. Okay, so the guy wakes up. There's a portal closing with 3 gray beings in front of him. While my mind was trying to figure out what my eyes are seeing, my musician mind starts thinking how I could replicate the tremolo sound.
I really need to know what that means.
let's
We're
Google
gonna have
that.
to give it a goog here.
Look, real fast, give it a goog before we go.
How do you spell it?
Tremolo.
A wavering effect in a musical tone produced either by rapid reiteration of a note, by rapid repeated slight variation in the pitch of a note, or by sounding 2 notes of slightly different pitches to produce. Oh, I can picture with that.
Okay, so with someone with ADHD who needs to hear it, can you just do that? Do you know who we should have just asked my cousin Helen. They play the harp. I'm sure they know what that is.
I think it's like
The word tremolo. Tremolo comes from
Tremolo.
bum,
Oh.
bum bum.
the whole violin section, the whole string section is playing tremolo, and then the horn plays a beautiful.
So that's what he was hearing in his ears. That's wild.
It's like
It's the beginning of a song that I know.
but it's like Thunderstruck.
Yes, Thunderstruck. Yeah. Bum bum.
Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
wanna. Now I'm just. This is like so good. Hey, if Two Cellos comes around, we probably can't play that.
But that's what he's hearing in his
'Kay.
ears, essentially.
We figured it out.
More or less.
Go
yes.
us.
Go us. Every musician who listens is like, these idiots.
like one of my best friends who's actually recreating a theme song for us.
Oh, yeah, that-
he's
yeah, he
gonna be
probably is.
yelling like moron, Meg.
Yeah. Whoopsie doodly.
You've been saying that so much, and I love it.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right.
So
Focus, Raina.
I am getting there. So he's trying to figure out how he can replicate that tremolo sound in his ears, which is straight up artist status, that you're in fear, but you're also like, how could I make this into something? I'm just saying.
can I recreate
How
that?
can I recreate that? Fractions of a second later, I realized I couldn't move. I was paralyzed, and that's where I begin to freak out.
Uh-oh.
My mind starts comprehending what I am seeing. But as the portal closed, I was paralyzed for like 10 seconds, and it all ended quick. I could move again, but I was shitting my pants. Sounds about fucking right. Not like the other guys looking around his room with a flashlight. Like, thank you.
I hope not literally, though.
I mean, I doubt literally, but you never know. Fuck. People do wild things.
In fear, man.
In fear. Apparently, he fell asleep very quickly after that due to tiredness, which I don't know that I'd be able to fall asleep that fast after that unless I had like a sleeping pill in me or something. But
The visual I have of this is almost comical. Like you wake up and they're just like, yeah.
and then he shits his pants and falls back asleep. Then he goes on to say, then last year something similar happened again, and I had to go to out of state. When I had to go out of state for work and stayed in an Airbnb, I went to sleep, and at some point around 2 or 3 a.m., I started dreaming about UFOs, and suddenly one of them started coming towards me, and it started speeding and tried to attack me, but it just really hit the glass or the window glass. And then he woke up.
Thunk.
He was paralyzed again, and this time he tried to scream, nothing mute, which if you have had sleep paralysis, you know. If you've never had sleep paralysis, you're a lucky human. Sleep paralysis is fucking terrifying. Does not matter.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I've had those moments where I'm trying to scream and nothing comes out.
But where you're like wide awake, laying there, you feel like you're being held down, and you are fully conscious, but you are
No, then I've
you
never
can't
had that.
move, you can't scream, but you're awake because then you eventually are able to like move, and it just happens suddenly.
Georgia has sleep paralysis.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they say it's when you're
Sometimes as a little kid, she said that like she'll just watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's her being able to get comfortable with it. I've only had it like 5 times, but which is still a lot, but it's still fucking I hate it. It's the worst thing ever.
I think it's the lack of control.
Well, yeah,
And you're stuck.
Well, you wake up and you can't do anything, but you're fully conscious. That's the part that fucks with you is you're fully conscious, and then you also can hear like I heard what it sounded like chains moving. Like it felt like I was being chained to my bed one time, and that was.
This makes me think of that Pink Floyd song where they're like paralyzed and they can just move their eyes.
No, that's literally what
Yeah.
it is. That's exactly what it is. But it's very scary. Anyways, the guy was paralyzed. This time he tried to scream, nothing mute. But this time there were no alien beings or grays in sight. And he's saying that he's just wondering what the hell happened.
Well, friend, you just had an experience.
So I will say I've said this on one of the other episodes, but it was a while ago and I want to find whatever show I was watching. It was about like celebrity alien encounters, like a bunch of celebrities who have come out to say that they've had alien encounters.
Like The Nanny?
Yes, like you mean Fran Drescher?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because we talked about all the movies and all the things. Anyways, but that supposedly if you are
Isn't Fran Drescher in Mars Attacks?
I don't know.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
But if you are supposedly family lines will all be abducted by aliens. Like if there's a family, like one person in their family has been abducted, it is very likely that their kids, their grandkids, so on. So like the aliens will stick with one specific family line that they will repeatedly abduct. And that's a bunch of the celebrities who were saying they got abducted were like my parents did, my grandparents did. Wild.
With that thought, then you could also say it's a psychological thing. If they say
Absolutely, you could. Yeah, you never know. But it's also like, oh, I don't know, when you're convinced you saw it.
Or other experiences. Because what does the brain do? The brain tries to make sense of what it sees, right?
Yeah.
And if we have this cultural idea of the Greys or aliens or abductions or whatever, if the brain's not understanding something, but it draws from that thought.
Right, absolutely could. But I feel like with the show and what they were saying, it was all very similar. Like some of them were having a sleepover and there were multiple people who had the same experience. So that's where I
can't wait till we get to talk about down by McMinimans and like the first like Men in Black.
Oh, this is
thing down in Tacoma. Like I'm so excited
Washington,
about that.
where we live. Yes, that was the first reported MIB.
Here comes the Men in Black.
Will Smith.
When we do that episode, we're gonna have to play that song.
Oh, we will,
like
absolutely.
A little snippety
Absolutely,
snip.
we will.
Okay, next up we have from Possibility Unusual 13. I've had some similar experiences to the above. Remember, we're all in one thread of people sharing their experiences. This was 1999. I was 7 and having a sleepover at my grandparents' house. Above their house was a 1-bedroom apartment that was vacant and used for us grandkids to play in and have sleepovers, as there were stairs that led to the main living room of the apartment. That's kind of cool.
That'd be so nice.
That is really,
I
really
love
cool.
that.
I was sleeping in the bedroom while my grandmother was sleeping on the couch and the living room area in the apartment. The couch was kind of tucked away behind the door that led downstairs, and she left the light on to the stairs, down the stairs, like into the main living area. I was having a super vivid nightmare about being at school and a tornado was hitting.
Whoa.
We live in New Hampshire, so tornadoes are not a thing. And I still, at almost 31, have an extreme fear of them. I had a big fear of
I fear
tornadoes,
them too.
But I also, Twister, one of the best movies.
That was also a solid.
made.
They're remaking that right now. They're about to re-release it. Why do they do that?
I don't know if I'm down for that.
Me either.
Is Helen Hunt in it?
No.
The other guy's not. He's
No.
dead.
Oh yeah, Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, damn. That's such a good movie.
That is such a good movie.
Okay.
When I woke up from the dream, I was super scared and wanted to go be with my Grammy. It was very dark in the bedroom, no nightlights. When I walked out towards the couch, I saw what appeared to be the same color of figure that you described at the top of the stairs right in front of me, meaning a gray figure standing there. Due to it going from dark to light so quickly from the light on the stairs, I thought it was my Grammy and started telling her about my dream. Only a few words in, this thing reached out and touched my shoulder, almost to console me. And I could feel it. As I felt it touch my shoulders, I heard my Grammy from the other side of the door ask who I was talking to. Scared, I quickly looked back at the stairs. The sensation of someone touching my shoulders was gone, and the figure was gone. I ran to the couch and told my Grammy, but she told me it was just a dream. But I didn't tell her about the tornado dream. I tried begging her to believe me, but I was so tired and just gave up and slept with her until morning. To this day, my grandfather, who was sleeping downstairs and who has since passed away, was the only person who believed me. He said he had seen his, quote, buddies from the war before.
Interesting.
That just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That, reading that, it's like, that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
But I have to say, you were saying that they are a matte gray color that was kind of see-through really hit home for me and my story. As when I've told other believers this story and have heard theirs, I've never heard someone use the term before besides me with my story. So I strongly believe you. I just never thought it was possibly an alien. I've always thought that this was some sort of ghost or spirit, minus the big black eyes. So this has given me something to think about. The buddies from the war.
The buddies from the war. So if you guys don't catch what that's saying, he's saying that like maybe aliens fought the war
alongside us.
Alongside them. Which
that resonated so much.
And then someone commented, someone was just asking like what war, and it was saying World War II, and he was in the Navy. So if you go with the whole theory of, I don't know, Antarctica, ocean, live within the earth, that adds up. I don't know.
Why are people not arguing, but kind of arguing about where they come from? Because regardless if it's underground or up in space, wouldn't those be other dimensions than what ours is now anyway? It's another world.
Yeah.
In theory. Can't we just go with that?
I mean, we can.
Let's just do that.
Well, you just got to get everyone else on board with it, but we can go with that.
Y'all, let's go.
I mean, you and I are on the same page with this kind of shit, so I feel like that's, okay. So here's another one from, his name is Fling Shitter.
Fling Shitter. Ooh, you got the gurgle laugh out of Raina there.
Solid. Okay, dude, I had a very similar experience, except I was around 8 years old, and it wasn't an alien, but a person I saw. So one night, my parents left us with a babysitter, and said they would be home much later than when we actually stayed up. So everyone in the house, my brother, sister, and the babysitter, were sitting upstairs in the living room area, and all of a sudden, we see the door handle to the room moving and opening, and I even saw what I would describe as a dark, strange hand holding the handle. We all saw the door open and got scared, and we went to go check the other side of the door, and nothing was there. We checked the house and nothing. Later on, me and my brother had fallen asleep watching TV on a makeshift beds in the upstairs room. I wake up at maybe 5 a.m. and it must have been winter because it was somewhat light outside. And I saw what I thought was my brother getting out of bed where he had been sleeping. And I turned to realize two things. My brother was still asleep on the bed, and that the person that I am looking at is not my brother. I made eye contact with what was looking like a young man, but he was somewhat transparent, yet I could see his eyes, hair, and everything else. After what I felt like an eternity, but it was probably like 10 seconds, I figured I'd jump. Oh, the figure jumped into the ceiling while still looking at me, and I watched it fizzle out of view, and I could no longer see it. This scared me for a while, and I don't really remember what happened afterwards. I told my brothers about it, and I'm sure, but every time I've looked back, I didn't know what to think. I assumed it was nothing like a spirit or something like a spirit, but your story is making sense that it was something else.
So we're going into beings, not necessarily a gray, but people are all having this similar experience with an unidentified being.
Well, and it does sound to me like he's having an experience with possibly a spirit or an entity, that it's not necessarily,
a gray.
That to me seems, but at the same time, like him rethinking it and he's saying that might be it, then maybe it is.
Maybe it resonated with him enough
that he's like, maybe that's what it is. This is something someone's saying on here that there are some CIA studies that talk about the certain frequencies and being able to produce audible stimuli, like actual sounds that are produced by the brain. And it turns out that some people who claim that UFOs emit similar frequencies, which can explain bad dreams, RF burns from ionizing radiation, blurred vision, hearing sounds, and other sensory perceptions. This experience as a whole backs up everything we seem to know so far.
Interesting. I love this stuff. Oh my God.
This is a good one. I like it.
Okay. I'm going to read another one. I have not pre-read this. First of all, I believe you and I appreciate you for sharing this story. I had an experience like this at my birth home in my early 20s. To set up the context of what happened, it was during a time of intense spiritual seeking for me. One night, I'm sleeping and having a nightmare, but this nightmare was pertaining to a particular situation that was going on at work. I wake up from the nightmare and I don't see a gray alien, but what I see is a small shadow figure standing close to the head of my bed, maybe around 3 to 3.5 feet tall. It was darker than the darkness in the room, but in my situation, once I woke up immediately, it faded away. I don't like to speculate on things like this, but it seems its presence, and they spelled it wrong, its presence seems to be in correlation with the nightmare that I was having. I've seen a lot of other things during the time in my life, too, most negative grammar people, but some very positive and very powerful things. In my opinion, these gray aliens and shadow creatures have a lot of similarities, and I wonder if they are the same thing.
It is interesting because we talk about shadow figures, which I see a lot. But to me, shadow figures their structure is not like an alien. Like they look like a humanoid.
It looks like a shadow.
Figure. Yeah, it's a shadow.
It looks like a shadow. Like when you see a shadow figure poking around the corner, it literally looks like it's dark,
a human shadow.
And it's somebody just poking around the corner, but it's not necessarily dark when it happens.
Yeah, and it's not like solid black. It's like transparent black. Like it's like...
Oh, mine are solid black.
Mine aren't... Well, they're not... So I will say mine aren't like black as night black, but they're also like not... Like they're not...
There was one time I was here and I don't know if we were going to record or whatever, or we were just chilling, and I was laying in your bed and you were in the bathroom and I was looking out in the hall.
Yeah.
And I saw...
That's where I always see him.
I saw Tex come upstairs and come into this room that we're in right now.
It wasn't Tex.
And then Tex walked through the front door downstairs.
I remember that. And you were like, Tex, and you're like, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Nope.
No, we didn't.
But
that is a little concerning because that's more like a mimic.
That is like a mimic, which that I almost suggested. We were talking about what we were going to do for this episode, and I almost suggested we do mimics, but they fucking terrify me a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
More than the grays?
No, I don't know. No. I don't feel like mimics. I don't know. Who knows? But
yeah. That's more of a Loki type creature.
Yes.
I love this shit so
I know.
much.
I will say that this all just reminded me of a TikTok that I actually saw that I wanted to talk about on this episode. And it is another podcast where they talk about this, like similar. He experienced it where he was ghost hunting and he was communicating with a ghost, and the ghost thought that he was the ghost. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense because that goes back to the whole stone tape theory episode that we did where they found reports of people writing in journals in like the 15th century saying people are in the halls and they have torches, flashlights, and they're asking, where are you? Where are you? And it was like...
So this actually goes into, instead of stone tape theory, it goes into time travel thought.
Oh.
Which was... But I'll play it so you can hear it. Hang on.
Haunted location for a week and set up cameras and stream it the entire time. And my wife is just like any other investigation. We're doing it. And then some guy starts coming through. His name was Raymond. I always ask, what year is it for you? Like, that's a question I've asked from the beginning because I feel like a lot of them don't realize they're dead if they're dead. And they may not be dead.
Yeah.
So he said 2082. 2082. I was like, that's in front of me, not behind me.
Yeah.
He thought
Do you
I was a
imagine?
ghost. So, like, he's asking me to, like,
This
knock
is a
on the
fascinating
wall. He thought I
concept.
was the ghost that he was ghost hunting for in the same space that I was in now. I had this idea. I'm like, okay, so what's your grandfather's name? Because your grandfather's probably on Facebook. I get on Facebook, and I find this guy that matches the exact city that this dude said he was from. And then he's like deep in interdimensional travel and astral projection threads. And right when I found his page and started scrolling on it, it said, this is getting dangerous. I have to go. And it just stopped. I did this thing.
That just opened up a whole new thought bubble in my brain.
Isn't that bizarre? I know.
Well, I mean, that kind of, in a way, goes back to when I heard John Tenney speak, and he was talking about how we were the ghosts that people were talking about way back then, but we're ghost hunting, but it's people from a long time ago witnessing us being the travelers back in time, but we don't realize it.
Well, and it also has to do with like time is linear and like there might be multiple timelines stacked and how so like essentially these people are in the same place, different timelines connecting. They're both ghost hunting, but really they're contacting each other from different timelines.
Whoa.
Talk about a mind fuck.
But I love it.
But I don't think I do think there are still like ghost entities, whatever. I still think that's a thing. Because when you think about like poltergeist, when you think about that, that's like actual people on our plane, essentially.
So one of the things that the guy that channels Bashar Anka, Daryl Anka, I think his name is. He was talking about, somebody sent this to me, like, so I'll just say it. My mom recently passed away last month, and somebody sent me this thing of, because, you believe all this stuff, but then you wonder when something really close to you happens, you start to question a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so somebody sent me this on Bashar and the Daryl Anka, I think his name is. And they said, what happens when you die?
Yeah.
And he says, you wake up.
Yeah.
And you realize that this life that we're living was the dream. And when you wake up, you are who you've always been.
Yep.
So that kind of...
Did I send that to you? Was that what
I think it was Betty.
Was it? Okay. Because
I think it was
do you remember
Betty.
I showed you something similar that basically was like...
Probably the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's all of that connects. Like, okay, we are experiencing spirit. But to them, are they experiencing spirit? Because are we the ones that we're just all in different dimensions, different.
Yep. It's like different layers. And it's
different layers.
It's the layers of like, and then some people are more in tune to being able to connect to other layers. Some people, like, everybody can.
Everybody can. So we don't, like, this is just what we're in right now is how they described it is when you wake up. So this is the dream state.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you wake up and you remember the dream state, but now you are who you've always been.
Which is wild. I don't know. I like that theory personally, but.
I do too. It's one of those things where you want it to be true.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there's enough, who knows, evidence, whatever. Enough people believe the same thing or who connect to the other side and who experience things that this is our next wild, weird, and unknown.
What? Were you going to say, I have one in my mind.
Well, it's when people die.
Near-death experiences. That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Which I've had that in my head for a while and been meaning to say it to you, but I haven't. But that would be so fun because I'm sure on the Reddit, what the crazy thing is, because I've actually read a few books about people's near-death experiences, everyone describes the same
I've been having
thing.
people sending them to me lately too, just because of what I'm going through in my personal life.
Yeah.
And it is all the same thing. But then you can think, is that what we just talked about? Is that your brain trying to make sense of things?
Yeah, it could be.
It could be.
Well, I'm not going there with that because I like to think that that's what is happening.
I mean, your perception is your reality, right?
Yeah.
So we can create our own reality.
Touche. So I'm creating that's when you're out of here, you're with other people.
I like it. We'll go with that.
Going with it. You're going back to your real self. Your higher self at the end of the day is what you're essentially.
And then you come back? Is that what we're going with?
Well, it depends on what you believe. I believe you come back, but
I'm not there yet. I want to believe that,
yeah,
but I'm not there yet.
I'm there. I believe you come back. I believe every life you have a lesson, and you are on this earth to learn a lesson. And so you get different things.
Are you connected to people like through?
You have soul family. And so like,
So you mean I have to deal with your ass again?
yeah, bitch, you do. But literally, one of the people. I mean, this I've read this in different books. I've met with different people, and also just like other mediums that I've watched. They all say the same thing, that when you decide to come back, you choose the people that you see and encounter. So like, even if it's someone who you barely have anything to do with, you've like chosen to interact with them in some capacity. Your soul has. And so, and then I've also done like, you know, past life things where people will tell you like the connections that you have to people. And one of them, my sister Shannon, who I'm really close with, like we already knew this because of how much we share a brain, which is weird, but we knew that like we were twins in a past life that where,
Interesting.
yeah, which we were like solid. And then also there was one where I was the older sister and she was the younger sister. And then I was told that like, I mean, I have a few, I'm pretty sure I was Tex's mom at one point.
Well, that just got awkward.
It does get weird, but it makes sense not to mother him too much.
One of my dearest friends, Vanessa, is like we've talked about how we're convinced like we were both burned at the stake in another life.
That, I mean, 1,000%. But also, didn't I send you something that said that it was something to do with something that happens to you and I? God, I swear to God, I sent you this TikTok, and it was talking about people who were burned at the stake, and like these are the signs that you were. Did I send you this?
I don't know if you did.
Oh, because it was something that it was like, oh, this is Meg and I.
Well, you're gonna have to send that to me.
Well, I don't know where it is, but I think I know
told-
what creator did it, but
I was told by a medium that in a past life I hanged myself before they could get to me.
yeah,
Sort of thing.
yeah.
I don't know. Back to the graves.
Yeah, God, we really went off track there, guys.
Oh.
That's not like us at all. We never go.
Squirrel. There have been times in my life where I have had fear. One of those times was when I was living in Vermont, and out of our picture window in the living room, we had a view of Mount Mansfield. And I remember one time, like the power went out and everything was green, which could be a transformer, but we lived on 50 acres in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, not likely.
But I remember looking out onto the mountain, and there were these giant balls, like circling balls, and there was 3 of them, and they were big. They were like, when you see the mountain, like big circles. So it couldn't have been a flare, because a flare would be a little flare.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling scared.
Yeah, like you're like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Well, because it's the unknown.
It's the unknown. But now I don't think aliens scare me.
Good for you.
But like, what is it about it that would scare you?
The unknown. What
unknown.
What are they doing? Why are they here? What's going to
They've
happen?
always been here.
Is it, well, yeah, but is it going to be Mars attacks? Is it going to, you know, like it's the unknown of like, what is their intention? What happens to our race now that they have connected, or that we've been allowed to know they've connected? Because I think that.
Okay, another thing from Bashar, because I go when I'm in the morning, like I go on my allotted TikTok time.
You got to have the allotted TikTok time, guys.
He was talking about how JFK was intentionally assassinated because originally he told us that aliens existed, and it caused such chaos that we had to go back in time and assassinate him so that we never know that. But if they've always been there, what is?
There's something that we are not.
Are we? Is it like Soylent Green here? Are we being harvested for food? Like,
maybe, I don't know. It's wild. I don't know. I mean, get us your theories, guys.
I want to know it all.
I want to know what you
But
think.
Don't quote me. Don't make me regret this. I want to make contact.
I mean, I do. I am excited for when it eventually happens, but am I scared? Yes, absolutely. But it's just like, you know, the same thing. Like,
I'm more scared of what I already know of the people in this world. That's what scares me. What is going on in current?
I think yes and no. So I think one, I agree with that. But then I also think that because we don't know their like capabilities, powers, whatever, I feel like we already have somewhat of an understanding of what our capabilities and powers are of anybody on this earth.
Death, destruction,
Which is death. Yeah.
annihilation.
Horrible, trying to kill us one thing at a time. It's just the like, but also then it's like, it goes with the same thing. Like if you believe what I believe for the afterlife, like you should not be afraid, which I am afraid, obviously, because I think it's the fear of like leaving the people behind.
Yeah.
And that you don't actually know what comes next. But my fear is not necessarily of death itself. It's of what will happen with everybody, like
Everybody
with
else.
having children and everything. Like that's, you know.
I had a really dear friend who is in the psychology world, and he said to me, "Why do you care if you die? You're gone." I'm like, "Well, because of the people that I love."
Yeah.
Well, what does that matter? You won't know it at the time. Well, at the time, I won't. But right now, that's a very big fear for me. Well,
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't an argument, but it was like, but why do you care? Because you won't be here to know. Like, that's not the point.
But that's
when you're an empathetic
I was
person.
just about to say that's a very like non-emotional reaction. And if you're a non-emotional person, that's fine. I am not a
And
non-emotional person.
the thought of that.
We really went deep here. We went from fucking aliens at the end of your bed to what happens when you die.
Welcome to the Lunatic soup.
We are a soup.
We are a soup. Put
We
everything
are
in a pot,
lunatics.
mix it up. You got a stew going.
A stew.
Mr. Boo Boo will know what I just said there.
Oh, it's fucking hobbits.
No, it's Arrested Development.
Oh, okay.
The look she just made.
Whatever. Anyways, well, thanks for joining us for our tangent.
Down this rabbit hole.
Oh my God. We really went down one.
This was a good one, though.
It was
I really
fun.
liked it.
But now stay tuned because our next one is going to be near-death experiences. And that one's...
Oh, I
or
thought you were
not
talking about
near-death.
what we were just about to record next.
No, our next wild weird, no, not near-death, but death when you die and come back. Whatever the fuck it's called. But not...
near-death experience.
No, but it's not called a near-death experience because... Well, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But they call it something else.
An NDE.
Is that really what it is? But I feel like there's another name that I've seen it on the TikTok. I'll let you know.
You find it.
I'll
Let
let
me
you
know.
Anyways, but yeah, near-death experience, whatever. When you die, you come back, and a lot of it, we'll go into some Reddit stories on that.
But I do like the thought that we kind of put together here. That
We chose
aliens, spirits, all these different things, afterlife, reincarnation, all these time travel. They're all
related. They're all in a thing. That's what makes me believe it because I believe in all of that. So it's like, how can I not?
They're all a soup, if you will.
If you will, it's a soup of chaos.
It's chaos down here, Tom.
I know it's a movie. I don't know it. I can just tell by how you said it. Oh, God. All right, you guys. Well, if you want to find us, you know where we are on the socials.
Lunatic Soup Podcast at gmail.com.
LunaticSoupPodcast.com.
Lunatic Soup Podcast on all the things.
And guess what, guys? On YouTube now, if you want to, you can just watch the full episode. Like, you can watch.
I saw we had like quite a number of subscribers on there, and I'm like, what the fuck? Who's subscribing to
and
us?
it used to just be like the audio was up.
Yeah.
Well, now because we have this platform, you're going to see on here because I just had to point Meg towards the microphone
like,
because
"Get
she was
back to the
talking.
microphone."
She was leaning towards me, not talking into the microphone.
I need reminders.
But you guys, if you want to watch us like a TV show, you can watch us on
Why do
YouTube.
I feel like Wayne's World right now on cable TV.
Yeah, a little bit. But isn't that fun though? Like, so now every episode, I've already been uploading them to YouTube, but now
Is
you
it,
can,
though?
yeah, you can upload the full episodes now with the full video are on YouTube. So you can watch our facial expressions. You can watch me give Meg the stink eye. You can watch me stare off into the abyss when I zone out in my ADHD like randomness.
See what it looks like when I snort.
Luckily, it cuts out most of our burps and things like that.
Burp.
When we drink cider, it happens.
This top 5.
We'll show.
Could it be because there's a Yeti on it? Abso-freaking-lutely.
I'm not going to call it top 5, but it was really good. I liked it. I love the can.
Will I have this at my house all summer?
Yes. I will drink this all summer, though. It's nice and dry. I love it.
Love it.
Well, go get yourself one of those. If you go on the Shillings website and just put in your zip code, it tells you exactly what stores
I
carry
got
it.
I got it at the Walmart.
The Walmart, Wally World. Yep. They had a grocery outlet, too. So if you have one of those near you. But yeah, check it out. And you guys have a good week. Get yourself some lunatic soup.
Please do. And remember, in this crazy world,
It's good to be a lunatic.
bye.
Bye.